I'm joined by Kumar Vora, who is the Vice President and General Manager of Adobe. And thank you for joining us out all the way from San Jose today.
Thank you for having me here.
Sure, it's great to have you. Kumar, Adobe has really redefined the way that business and government conduct business around the world. And they've really been on the cutting edge of technology in the digital world. There's this relatively new term in the industry called cloud computing, and
yes.
I'm hoping today that you can explain for the audience what cloud computing is and what Adobe is doing with cloud computing in the government.
Great. Yes, we have been at the cutting edge and bringing innovative solutions to the industry and government customers, and cloud computing is just the next chapter in the same journey.
And what is it? I mean, it's a term that we're hearing a lot more in the industry, but if you could just kind of give us a little bit of a background on what it is and how it's being used.
Cloud computing is a phenomenon that has been born out of the connectivity that the internet brought to us. It is far easier now to interconnect systems, to share data, share information, bring people together to collaborate. Than it was 10 or 15 years ago when there was no internet, there was no network connectivity. The high-speed nature of the internet, as well as the standardization of some of the protocols, have made it possible to bring a lot of collaborative applications together, and that's what really the cloud computing is about.
Okay, and how do you see the government using cloud computing? What are some of the challenges they face as opposed to the private sector?
Governments have traditionally had a couple of different challenges that cloud computing really helps with. In fact, and Adobe's approach to cloud computing also helps, and I'll speak to that as well. First and foremost, government systems have been built, a lot of the systems have been built in silos, separate from each other. They've grown up separate from each other, and there is not enough data sharing across agencies, across systems, across people who work in various parts of the government. And that hampers their ability to serve their own constituents and carry out their own tasks efficiently. That's one. The second is the notion of transparency and openness is pretty big for government these days.
Yes.
But how do you bring that notion of transparency for the citizens, for their constituents, and bring a notion of data visibility, the notion of process visibility, and all of those things? Cloud really makes it easier for agencies and government functions, government departments, to bring a notion of transparency because they are using open technologies and deploying and implementing things in cloud.
Well, then share with us what's unique about what Adobe offers with cloud computing.
Adobe has taken an approach, you can explore that question at a couple of different levels. One is that of how do we make infrastructure easy and accessible, so that the cost of deploying systems and cost of implementing applications is dramatically reduced and changed so that the government can get more efficient. That's one level. The second is, again, going back to the theme of open government, how does Adobe facilitate applications that are inherently collaborative? One of the things we have announced last week is LiveCycle Collaboration Services, which is a real-time collaborative application platform for building, for bringing people together and having real-time conversations and collaborations. That would not have been possible but for the use of cloud technologies that would have been prohibitively expensive to deploy with any other means. And that notion of openness in government, bringing people together on a collaborative platform, is really made easy with Adobe's technologies, and that's the fundamental aspect of cloud computing.
And I think it's it's intuitive that we want our agencies sharing information. But I think one of the concerns is when that happens, what sort of security concerns are there? What do you open yourself up to? I mean, how do you protect the identity of the user, data processing, just general security concerns? So how is Adobe addressing that?
That's an excellent question, because when you open up the systems and make them transparent, you really also have to do it from the perspective of privacy and being able to protect people's private information. And guard it even more zealously. In closed systems, there was less of an issue because all the data was hidden, and since you didn't have the access to data, you didn't have to worry as much about privacy and security concerns. Adobe has had a long history of investing in very deep security technologies. We have best in class, best in industry, two-factor authentication systems built into the platform itself, built into the software, foundation of our software, as well as a lot of the technologies around digital signatures. And so if you think in terms of transparent and open government, providing citizens and constituents services, but you want to do it in a secure fashion, establishing the identity of the user. That's the first aspect of it. And the second is when a transaction happens or when a service is requested, for example, by a constituent, do it in a way that can be digitally signed and secured so that there is a sanctity of that exchange of information between government agency and the citizen. And we have, in our platform, we have had technologies around this for a long time. Exposing that technology using cloud as the mechanism to deliver is just the next extension. It's a very natural extension of the same technology.
And this can be used by the government?
This can absolutely be used by government.
Kumar, this is great. This is fascinating. I hope you join us again. Adobe has done great things, is doing really interesting things. The government certainly needs your services. We need more sharing of information, certainly, and secure information. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
I'm Karen Hanretty, and this is Focus Washington. Join us next time.